Hey, all right, let's talk about, first of all, I didn't expect them to beat Skeens, and they were never in this game. Cruz is struggling, all right, and he was benched for a couple days, and for whatever reason, Davey decided to bring him back against the best pitcher in baseball. That didn't work out too well. He's been dropped to the bottom of the lineup pretty much. Your thoughts on Cruz, why he's struggling so much, and then is there a possibility you think Davey and Riz would send him down to AAA just to kind of get his confidence back?
I just don't see them sending him down. I think the whole point of, one thing Riz has been pretty firm on over the last 2 years is once somebody's here, a real prospect, that they're here to stay.
Okay.
That wasn't really the case with Louis Garcia at times, but I think that was a different case. I think they want him to be here. And until he is, more useless at the plate than Jacob Young, I don't really see why, you'd send him out. I also just, it's easy to say, but I don't worry about him. I think, he's just a different kind of guy. I think he will figure it out. I think he is probably figuring it out, as we speak. There's guys they look super overmatched, and I know he has at the plate, but sort of emotionally and the look in his eyes and all that corny stuff, he just looks fine. And he finds ways to make plays in the outfield. And, I think he's going to figure it out and be completely fine. It hasn't looked good, but I think it's coming.
I don't know for what it's worth. I'm not, I'm too old. I don't know all the advanced metrics and stuff. But when I did find a site that has like exit velocity on that stuff, he seems to be, fine there, when he's making contact. So, he's got pop or, he's got, he's hitting the ball hard, I guess, when he hits it. I guess too many strikeouts, though, right?
Yeah, definitely too many strikeouts. But again, I think that's the kind of thing that will decrease in time. I just, there's so many players we've kind of seen come up for them. I just don't worry about him. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but he just is a really sturdy guy mentally who you can kind of tell is taking something from every time he's up there. It's been 3 weeks or whatever it's been. I think he'll be completely fine. He's not going to be James Wood, and he never, that's not what you're looking at here, but you're looking at a guy who's going to spray the ball around the field and run as hard as he possibly can all the time. And, balls are going to start dropping for him. I think he's going to be fine.
The reason why I've kind of had my eyebrows raised with him is I keep thinking about, was it Carter Keyboom? Everyone told me he could hit too, and that one just never really worked out for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, with all due respect to Carter Keyboom, I can't think of two more different guys mentally.
Is that right?
Than Cruz. Yeah, I think he's going to be fine. He's a scrappy guy who is in a, number one overall prospect type body. I think Cruz will be fine.
Okay, cool. The one thing that's been an issue, I don't know if you'd agree with me here, but man, the bullpen ERAs are crazy. See, Poche on 16. Rutledge, he pitched last night, gave up a couple. He's at 6. Sims is at 13. Farrar is at 6. Lopez is at 7. I mean, there's some crazy numbers coming out of the bullpen. And the starting pitching has been decent. I know Gore's been okay. Irvin's been okay. Mitchell Parker's been really good, but the bullpen numbers, Chelsea, not good.
Yeah, really bad. I think they missed pretty big here, and I think it's a huge problem because watching these games, you get they might get behind by they got behind by 4 a couple times in Miami, and they were back in it by the 6th, and then the bullpen can't keep them there. It's just the starters have been fine. I think that the offense, not perfect, but not horrible, and they've battled their way back into some games, but you can't keep letting games get away. And I don't, there's no easy fix there. It's not like there's a ton of guys ready in the minors to come save them. I don't know who, other than maybe Kyle Finnegan, you look at in their bullpen and say, this is a sure thing. Mm-hmm. And that's a huge problem because I think it's going to, if they don't kind of get it together soon, it's going to cost them a year that probably could look a lot better than it does right now. I don't know if it's waiver guys, if every guy that gets designated for assignment somewhere else is somebody they're going to have to bite on, but, they're going to have to shake that up because you need more than one reliable reliever. And as you've seen with Orlando Ribalta and some of the guys who have kind of, gotten hurt, it's like if you put too much weight on the guys you trust, then other guys have to pick up the slack, and everybody's things get out of whack, and it gets worse and worse. So they're in trouble there, and they've got to fix it.
Isn't it a situation where Mike Rizzo's had his hands tied behind his back in terms of payroll, though?
Totally, 100%. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think they've maybe had, he spent like $8 million at most on 3 guys in the bullpen, and that's probably about what he could spend. So it's not easy. But if Lucas Sims is going to fall apart and Poche isn't going to be, the kind of pickup they thought, you're just going to have to figure something out, because it's hurting what should be a really, I think, positive start to the season in many ways. Once you get in the 7th inning, the games get away.